All right. We'll give this a minute, guys, for people to get logged in, to get signed in, and we'll start going over the notes. Okay, so this is going to be the last lesson on circles that we go over. We're going to do the tough stuff today, which is completing the square. And then after we go through the notes and probably the homework, what I'm going to do is I'll help you guys out with the homework quiz, since that will be an actual assessment tomorrow, and I won't have a live session going on tomorrow because of that. So if we're looking at our note packet for circles, this is the very last page. So this is like page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we'll go through the beginning part here, what to do, and then we'll go through the 2 homework problems. Okay, so when we have a circle, remember we always want to get the circle in the equation x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where our center of the circle is at hk, and then the radius is just straight up r, the square root of that last number. So that's our goal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at problems that don't look like the normal equations we've been dealing with. So the first example that we're going to have is, what if we have the equation x squared plus y squared plus 24x plus 10y plus 160 equals 0. So you can see this is a circle equation because we have x squareds and we have y squares. But now we have these like extra x's that are added onto this, and we have this number here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to move this around. We're going to have to put the x's together and then put the y's together, and then anything else we're going to move over to the other side. So I'm going to group the x's together. I'm going to have an x squared plus 24x, and then I'm going to leave a space here, and then I'm going to put a plus a y squared plus 10y, and I'll put another space, and then I'm going to equals negative 160 if I move the 160 over. Okay. So what we're going to have to do to get that equation to look like the equation we want, we're going to have to complete the square with the x's and complete the square with the y's. Now the one thing that we did last time with parabolas, we added a blank. Well, actually, we divided by a number here, but you don't have to worry about that with circles. When we do ellipses, yeah, we'll worry about that. But we're going to add a blank here. Now, normally we would add a blank and then subtract the blank next to it so they cancel out. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a blank on this side, and we're also going to add a blank on this side. We're going to have to do that twice because we have x's and we have y's. So I'm going to add a blank for the y. I'm also going to add the blank over here. Now, if you remember, the number that goes in the blank is the middle number divided by 2 squared. That's what goes in the blank. So, okay, 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 squared is 144. So I'm going to add that there and add that number over here. The number that would go on the y blank over here would be, okay, 10 divided by 2 squared. All right, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So I'm going to put that there and put that there. Okay, so now we need to simplify this. Once we complete the square, we find this blank here. What ends up happening is we could factor this out, and we could get x squared goes down to x, plus still stays in the middle because that's in the middle, and we take the square root of 144 is 12. So there's our first part of the equation. We do the same thing with the y's. All right, so this would, once we complete the square, y squared goes down to y. It's still plus in the middle, and then 25, the square root of 25 is 5. Now the only thing we need to do here is just figure out, okay, what's this total over here on this side? We got negative 160 plus 144 plus 25. Okay, what's that, 169? That'd be 9. So now we took this equation at the beginning, we moved things around, we found the squares, we added them on this side and that side to keep the equation equal, completed the squares, and simplified. So now we can say, okay, our center here, remember our center is the opposite that's in the x's, so it'd be a negative 12, negative 5, and then the radius is the square root of this last number, square root of 9, is 3. Okay, so there's the first. You guys doing all right there? What we're going to do is the next one. And we'll take our time with it, and then we'll go over the homework problems as well. Okay, so the next one's kind of tough. Tougher than what you'll see here a little bit, but we're going to do it because we're going to do this trick when we do ellipses, the next section after spring break. So, okay, we got the problem 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 16x minus 24y plus 51. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do here is that all of our circle equations are just a plain old x. There's no number in front. So what we have to do here, and what will always happen with the circle, is that the number next to the x squared and the y squared will be the same thing. What we need to do is to divide those two numbers by that, or actually divide everything by that number. So we're going to divide this whole equation by 4, because that's the number next to the x squared and the y squared. So if we divide everything by 4, oh, I forgot equals 0 at the end here, we'd get a 1x squared plus 1y squared minus 4x minus 6y, and then this would be plus, I'm going to have to get a calculator out. Let's see, 51 divided by 4, 12.75. Okay, and then 0 divided by 4 is still 0. Okay, that looks a little ugly, but trust me, this will work out in the end, and I'm going to show you another trick we can do. Okay, so once we got it simplified, so the x's are just now with the 1 in front of them, what we got to do is group these out. So we're going to group the x's together, we'll group the y's together, and we'll move everything over to the other side. So we got a x squared minus 4x, we'll put a blank there, plus, now we'll do the y's, we got y squared minus 6y, we'll leave a blank there, equals, okay, I'm going to move that over to the other side, negative 12.75. So the first two steps when it comes to completing the square is we divide if there's a number next to the x squared, and then after we divide, we group them out. So we put the x's together, we put the y's together, and a plain old number goes over to the other side. Now what we need to do is we need to put in our blanks so we can work on completing the square. So we have a blank here for the x's. We add one to the left, we got to add one to the right to keep it equal. And we have a blank here for the y. Same thing, if we put a blank on this side, we got to put a blank on that side, just to keep the equation equal. Now the numbers that go in the blank are the middle numbers. So we got negative 4, we'll divide it by 2, and then square that. So negative 4, which is this middle number here, divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is a positive 4. So that's what goes in the x blank is a 4. Now on the y blank here, we'll do the same thing. We get a -6. We'll divide that by 2 and square it to complete the square. -6 divided by 2 is -3. -3 squared is 9. So that goes in that blank. So we have those 2 blanks added to each side. So we, going through those steps again, we divided to get this equation. We divided by the number next to the x. I apologize if my video keeps pausing. They are working on the Wi-Fi in my neighborhood, and just everybody's at home working, so there's nothing we can do. Plus, my wife is working from home, and kids watching probably Frozen 2 for 100th time. Okay, so we divide by the number, by the x. We group the x's together, we group the y's together, and move the other one over. And then we have to find the blanks. And those blanks are found by taking the middle number here, dividing by 2, and squaring it. So when we do that middle number, the reason why we do that is because we can complete the square, factor this trinomial. So the trick is to take the x, square root of that is x. It'd be minus in the middle because it's a minus in the middle. And the square root of 4 is 2. Now over here on the y, we do the same thing. The square root of y squared is y. It's a minus in the middle, so we put a minus in the middle. The square root of 9 is 3. And then over here on this side here, we just got to simplify, add this total together. So negative 12.75 plus 4 plus 9 would be a positive 0.25. So there's the equation, and that would mean our center is at the point 2, 3. Remember, our center is the opposite of what's in the x's and the y's. And then the radius is the square root of this number. The square root of 0.25, I'll just type that into the calculator, comes out to be 1/2. So that's kind of rare, or 0.5. Now let me show you guys a trick to do. Since these are tougher problems, I'm going to grab my computer out and show you a trick. Can I do it that way? No, I'll have to minimize it. All right, so I'm going to get on Desmos. So feel free to do this trick tomorrow when you guys are working on the homework quiz, or even tonight on the homework. All right. Now, today when I go on the live stream, I'll do it the correct way. But I'm just going to type in that equation into Desmos. Just how it is. Okay, 4x squared. So the problem we were given. And then, come on, plus 4y squared. And then we had a minus 16x. X. And then a minus 24y. And then plus a 51, and then what we have to do here is put an equals 0. If you saw that right over there, a circle will pop up. And we can, now, it doesn't tell us too much, but we can kind of look at this circle here, click on it a couple times, and we get some points. Now, it won't tell us the center, but we can guess that the center is right here, which if we look at our grid, ooh, that zoomed up really quick. Let me zoom out a little bit. I did not. Our center is right here, which is at over 2 up 3, which is what we got from our equation. And the radius goes from 3 to 3.5, which would be a radius of 1/2. So you can always go through, if you're stuck with completing the square, if you just want to double check, type that equation just like it is given to you. Don't worry about reducing or anything into Desmos. And then use the graph to help you find out what the center and the radius is. Because we're not in normal school, I'm not going to give you any radiuses that are going to be like the square root of 37 or something that would come out crazy. Everything is going to come out nice and neat. So if you got a crazy answer, you did something wrong. Okay, so let's go over the homework problems. I'm going to do them the long way, but that will just kind of help us out. So each one of these homework problems you guys can see are 2 parts. The first part, what you need to do is to take the equation and just put it in standard form. And then the next problem is, okay, now that you have it in standard form, tell me what the center is and what the radius is. So really, it says there's 4 questions, but really there's just 2 problems, 2 steps each. So we'll go over both of them, and then I will help you guys out with the homework quiz, tomorrow's lesson, because you guys are on here watching this. Okay. Get my camera set back up again. While I'm doing this, have you guys checked to see, now you guys are supposed to get a TI graphing calculator extension on your Chromebook. So I don't know if you guys have restarted your Chromebook recently, but up in the top right corner there should be like a little icon that lets you use the a graphing calculator, a Texas Instrument one. I was told that was going to be sent out to all you guys. So should come out soon if you don't have it already. Alright, so first homework problem. Here we go. We got y squared plus 4x minus 20 minus 2y equals negative x squared. Okay, so we're in luck here. There's no number next to the x's or y's. Well, technically there's -1 here, but what we need to do here is to move this x squared over to the other side and move this 20 over here to kind of group it out. So let's put the x's together. We would have a positive x squared and a 4x. We'll put her blank. And then we'd have a y squared and a minus 2y. We'll put a blank. And then equals 20 once we move that over. So just moved this x squared over, grouped it with the 4x, grouped the y squared and the minus 2y together on this side, and then moved the 20 over there. What we need to do next is to find these blanks. Sorry about the video pausing again, guys. I've called Spectrum 3 times. Not much I can do. Alright, so we got a blank for the x's. We got a blank for the y. Alright, what goes in those blanks? So what goes in this first blank is the middle number 4 divided by 2, which is 2, and then squared, which is 4. So 4 goes in the first blanks. Next blank, what goes in that? The middle number is -2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. -1 squared is a +1, so that goes in those blanks. So when we start simplifying this and putting this in standard form, alrighty, we're going to go ahead. Start with the x's. X squared, square root is x. It's a plus in the middle, so we put a plus in the middle. The square root of 4 is 2. Now with the y's, y squared goes down to y. Minus in the middle, minus in the middle. The square root of 1 is 1. And then lastly, add up this total here. And so this would be a 20 plus 4 plus 1, 25. So we'd have an x plus 2 squared, a y minus 1 squared equals 25. Now on Canvas, be careful, you have to put a x minus -2. That's just how it works out. Okay, now how do we get the second part of that information? Now that we have this, you could have gotten this as well by just typing this equation into Desmos and looking at the picture here. The center is at -2, 1. Remember, opposite of those numbers there. And then the radius is at the square root of 25, 5. Alright, so there should be the answers for the first 2 problems on the homework. Alright, we got one more homework problem, and then I'm going to go through the homework quiz to kind of help you guys out, give you guys some hints for that. Okay, so here we go. We got 16 plus x squared plus y squared minus 8x minus 6y equals 0. Now, remember, what you could do here is to kind of work backwards. You could plug this equation into Desmos, get the picture of the circle, find out where the center and the radius is, So there's your answers for question 4, and then go backwards to get your answers for question 3. But I'm going to do this the long way just so we can practice completing the square again, because that's going to be a big thing in the next 2 sections. Okay, so we need to get the x's together. We don't have to divide because there's just the 1 next to those. So we'll group the x's together, we'll group the y's together, and we got to move this 16 over to the other side. So let's see, x's together would be x squared minus 8x plus blank. And then we got a y squared minus 6y plus a blank equals negative 16. I'll use those boxes for the blanks. Alright, so if I got a blank here, I need another blank here. And if I got a blank for the y's, I need another one over here. Oh my god, I'm sorry about the video pausing, guys. Thanks for sticking this out with me. Here we go. Let's find these middle numbers. So if I take this negative 8 and divide it by 2, that's 4. 4 squared is 16. So we got a 16 there and 16 there. That's nice. The other middle number we take, or the other blank, we take the middle number, negative 6, which we'll divide by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Okay, so when we complete the square, we do it twice. One time for the x, one time for the y. Alright, so it'd be x, square root of x squared is x, minus in the middle, minus in the middle. The square root of 16 is 4. Now over here on the y's, the square root of y squared is y, minus in the middle, so, and then the square root of 9 is 3. The last thing we need to do now is just add these total together. Negative 16 plus 16 is 0, plus 9 is 9. So there's the equation in standard form. Don't have to worry about anything fancy because it is just minus 4 minus 3 there. So question 4, the last question, is, okay, what is the center and what is the radius? The center would be at positive 4, positive 3, so 4, 3. And the radius is, well, what's the square root of 9? 3. It should have worked out that way from the graph. Okay. Alright, guys, I know we're sticking through this. You guys are really diving deep into what it's like to take an online math course. So if you decide to do that in 2 years, you know, take an online math course in college, you pretty much do this for 8 weeks. Hope things are going all right. Okay, I'm going to bring my computer back over here and go over the problems for tomorrow's homework quiz. It is technically an assessment, so I won't be doing a live stream, but if you watch this video, it should help you out. Alrighty. Alright, so let me adjust this, put it down, do what I can here. Can I slide it down some more? And we'll zoom in a little bit if we can. Come on, there we go. Okay, so first question here is, okay, find the equation of the graph of the circle. So if we look here, the circle is at left 1, down 2. So it'd be x minus negative 1, x minus 2. And then just count to find the radius. The radius would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So keep in mind, okay, we have to have the radius squared. So this last number should be whatever 5 squared is. So pretty easy question off at the beginning. Okay, next. All right, find the equation of the circle given the 2 endpoints of the diameter. Alrighty, so I'm trying to adjust my, there we go, that's better. Alright, so if we have these 2 endpoints, to find the center of the circle, we'd have to take the midpoint of the two endpoints. So, okay, the midpoint, we add the x's together, divide by 2. So that would be, what, 8 divided by 2? So that'd be your answer there. Whatever 8 divided by 2 is goes next to this one. And then the y's would be the same thing here. Negative 4 plus 0 is negative 4 divided by 2. So put whatever negative 4 divided by 2 is. Put that answer there. So what was that? 4 to negative 2. All right, so then to find the radius, you're going to have to find the distance from this center point that we just typed here to either one of those points. So you'll have to set it up, like do the distance formula with those to get the distance, and then remember to square it. The trick is when you do the distance formula, at the end you get like the square root of some number. Just don't bother figuring out what that is. Just leave it in, and then, because once you take the square root of some number and square it, you just get that number. Okay. All right, this one should be a piece of cake here. They give you the center, which you type in here, and then they give you the radius, which you just have to remember to square there. So another easy point there. Another easy one here. If we have this equation here, what's the center? Remember, the center is the opposite here. So if it's minus 4, we put a plus 4. If it's a plus 2, we put a minus 2. And the radius is just the square root of the number at the end. Hopefully you know what the square root of 100 is. Okay. So here's the last problem, the complete the square problem. And just to show you guys what you can do on Desmos, if you don't want to do completing the square, we can type that equation in. Negative 6x equals, all right, negative 6x equals, oh, I'm typing it in over here. I'm going to zoom this out because I don't know where this is going to be at. Negative x squared plus 32y. Negative x squared plus 32, oh, plus 32y. Minus 264 minus y squared. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we got the circle over there. I'm just going to zoom into it a little bit. Maybe get some more numbers here. Where'd it go? Here, boy. All right, so you can kind of see where the circle's located at. The center's right there, and then we can just kind of count or look at the graph to see how big the radius is. Oh, you can't see it here. There we go. So we found the center here, so you type it in. There's the center, so that should be your points that you type in, and then just look over at what the radius is. Just count from the center, move over. So that's kind of the cheating way of doing that. Oh, there's the 9 club. Alrighty. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Email them to me. I just found out the other day, or this morning really, that some of the YouTube videos are being restricted. So I'm glad that if you guys are watching this on your own phone or your personal device at home, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are doing great. So, tomorrow I won't be on live. We just went over the homework. So, good luck. Enjoy your guys' spring break. Take a break. Hopefully, we can come back. If not, we'll be back on here. All right. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your break. Take care.